Hello, this is Rob Lambert with AssetProtectionTraining.com. Today I'm going to take on offshore banking, one of my favorite topics, a very important topic, a huge topic, impossible to cover in 5 minutes, but I'm going to cover it in 5 minutes or less because this is the rules. This is the introductory cocktail party conversation coverage. But if you really dig into this course, the material at AssetProtectionTraining.com, you will learn a lot about offshore banking. You will meet a number of bankers. I will, and other people will recommend companies that are great banks to go to if you need asset protection and offshore services. And we're going to talk about some of the problems. I'll even introduce you to the people I use to actually open bank accounts for my clients. But today, let's just take it from 60,000 feet, not even 30. Offshore banking abroad is different than banking in the United States. And by the way, why do I even care about it? Well, remember the first rule of asset protection: what you don't own cannot be taken from you. Well, that just becomes a whole lot stronger when those assets that you don't own are sitting in an offshore country, in a place where somebody's going to have to pay a lawyer and put up a bond for your fees in some cases, and basically where they're facing statute of limitations and rules that make U.S. judgments very difficult, if not impossible, to enforce. So you do always want to have an offshore bank account if you do asset protection planning. Even though a majority of your money might stay in the United States, you need that account. You need it as a backup. You need it as a place where you can move money and trigger the second rule, which is no country in the world automatically enforces U.S. judgments. You can trigger that rule by simply moving your money abroad. Now, what's the difference? Now, I got 2 minutes to do this, so excuse me if I cover it quickly. The differences between U.S. and offshore banking are very significant. Offshore bankers are more like business partners in many ways. They actually handle many things that U.S. banks don't even want to handle, don't even think about handling. They will help you trade stocks. They will accommodate almost any business services you need as long as you're willing to pay for it. They're entrepreneurs. They're a lot more like what we used to think about U.S. banks being. They also open up a whole lot of investments that are not available in the United States. And, by the way, that's a good reason to engage in asset protection planning, because it opens up a whole panoply of investment options that aren't even available to you at Bank of America or Chase. I'm actually almost embarrassed about our banking system here. Procuring an account. Procuring an account is sometimes difficult. I'm going to venture off of my little page here to a page at the Association of Americans Resident Overseas. You can see their webpage up here, aaro.org. This is a great group. They've noticed that a number of their customers, their members, are having a terrible time opening bank accounts abroad, and even having U.S. banks closing down bank accounts if you have offshore addresses. It's gotten tough to get a bank account. So if you get one, cherish it. And I will introduce you to the folks that can make that happen. It's just not easy anymore. You have to jump through a lot of hoops. You have to present a lot of evidence. If you want to have that capacity to hold your money abroad, you're going to have to prove that your money is clean, that it's after tax, that it's not some terrorist, that you're not some terrorist pawn. And all of these rules have made the offshore banks not even want U.S. customers. They are not taking U.S. customers. Why are they taking mine? Because through some weirdness, a lot of banks regard a properly done trust as a different person than the actual individual making the deposit. So they're willing to take accounts from a trust, or if they have a problem with a trust, they're almost always willing to take an account from a LLC or an offshore entity owned by an offshore trust. So you can always get around it. You can always get an account. It's kind of weird, but it just seems to, they want your money. They just don't want the U.S. government all over them. Procuring an account is difficult, and as I said, we'll help you with that. Secrecy. Offshore banks have good secrecy when it comes to individuals and civil litigation. But secrecy is dead when it comes to the U.S. government. The Know Your Customer rules, the Patriot Act, all of the statutes, the 7 money laundering statutes, all of this are things we will talk about later, but they all point towards one thing. Bank secrecy is dead. If you've got a secret, unreported offshore bank account, you are waiting. You're a time bomb waiting to explode, and the ultimate result may be spending time with Bubba. Do not let that fester. Take care of it. Come clean, report it, get an expert to help you with it, and get somebody well respected and good, because you do not want to go to jail, and they will throw you in jail for that. It's a serious crime now. So the final point I wanted to make about offshore bank accounts is always report your accounts to Uncle Sam. He's a ruthless individual when it comes to not telling him everything about offshore accounts. Don't take the risk. It's never worth it. Thank you very much, and we will be covering this in much more detail later.